When I tell people I have a chronic illness, people usually look at me and go, what? But you look great. Girl, I couldn't tell. I have to kind of bring them back to reality, like, okay, I know things can look great, but lupus does, it stinks. These were what my early symptoms were. I first started noticing that it was physically hard for me to get out of bed. My joints were so stiff, I felt like a mummy. Everything ached. I do remember also getting really, really bad headaches. They would wake me up out of my sleep. I remember just being tired all the time, like narcoleptic, falling asleep wherever I could. I could fall asleep anywhere. There's no real one test for lupus, but I do know that there's certain things that they do look for, which is the reason why it's best to go to a rheumatologist, because they're trained to look for symptoms and pay attention to certain ones. Lupus can literally mimic a lot of other diseases. That's why they call it the great mimicker. Officially, a rheumatologist has to confirm a diagnosis, and I am so blessed to have been in a hospital where rheumatology division is very, very prevalent. There's a rheumatologist right next door and came right next door and said, oh dear, yes, I can, you poor thing. And just looked at my joints. I looked at my blood work and all the other things that work with it, the ANA complements, all those things, and said, yes, you have lupus. In many ways, lupus set me free creatively. It allowed me to be a little bit less fearful. I think that was the most fearless I've ever been in my life. The most empowered I felt, because once I stopped being afraid, I found other passions that I'd never thought were possible. I never thought spoken word was an opening for me. Music, maybe. I grew up singing my whole life, but spoken word was just another outlet. And after being diagnosed with lupus, I kind of looked at it like, I'm just gonna perform.
Lupus is a disease that flares up in times of stress, and I was constantly pushing it as if fighting my humanness. Well, this machine, it broke down. Hospitalization and the possibility of death forced me to do less, but it put things in perspective.
It snowballed into people just asking me things. Can you teach this class? What you do? And I'm like, okay, I love kids. Come to my school and teach for a week. My students know I have lupus. I've told them about it. Some of them have come to lupus walks. I've missed class sometimes, because of my lupus being active. When I was in the hospital, my students text me, just checking on you, seeing if you're okay. So they've supported me. The most rewarding part about working with young people is the energy that they give you. Their creativity makes me want to be more creative. They are so amazing, and they're like looking to me for help, and sometimes I can't even help them. I'm like, you're just amazing. I've also learned that exercise helped me a lot, so I started really trying to make sure I took care of my body. I feel better being active. My joints feel less achy. The times I'm not exercising, when I usually feel like my lupus is most active, I stretch for at least a half an hour before I start running. If I do have pain, I stop. I believe in listening to your body. I run because I forget I have lupus when I'm running. It's freeing. My rheumatologist plays a really big role in how I deal with this disease. She was the one who diagnosed me 10 years ago, and she's been very, very, very helpful in just trying to figure out what balance I can take between my medication, between my life, and just trying to be nurturing and make sure that my treatment is what's best for me. If you just found out you have lupus, don't freak out. Do not look at the worst cases and think that that's automatically going to be you. You cannot look at anybody else's situation and compare yourself to it. Look at it like, what's going on right now? What do I need to do? And keep it moving that way. And just, enjoy the beautiful things that make you happy.